Do you think that it is possible that FTX's demise was set in stone? Sam Bankman-Fried should expect repercussions in the future. He embezzled $8 billion from FTX shareholders and is, therefore, the key problem. I think it is quite obvious that he dumped it in Alameda and lost it due to carelessness. And his partner, Carolyn, who we've seen recently, apparently she was just spotted in New York. It appears that she will negotiate a plea bargain with a New York prosecutor. In today's video, we will be having Max Keiser, a venture capitalist, explain to us why he thinks the collapse of FTX seems premeditated. Max Keiser, investor in Bitcoin and co-host of the podcast The Orange Pill, detailed the methods allegedly used by prominent cryptocurrency fraudsters like Sam Bankman-Fried and the economic toll these schemes take. Sam Bankman-Fried built his fraudulent empire on the back of a fake currency that he designed and named FTT. He made it with zero direction from anyone else and no foundational links to anything that might ever give it worth. Kaiser claims that a number of high-profile people, such as NFL great Tom Brady, NBA superstar Stephen Curry, NBA legend Shaquille O'Neal, MLB Hall of Famer David Ortiz, billionaire entrepreneur Mark Cuban, comedian Larry David, and others were among the investors in the defunct cryptocurrency firm. After sponsoring FTX, the celebrities are now being sued for the billions of dollars in losses their fans sustained when the company went bankrupt. Since FTX's humiliating demise, the SEC chairman has been criticized for his meetings with Bankman-Fried and IEX on the launch of a new trading platform and for failing to spot warning signals with the company's previous executive. Podcaster and ex-trader Max Keiser recently tweeted a remark from prominent Bitcoin advocate and former MicroStrategy founder and CEO Michael Saylor, who said that Bitcoin was the sole commodity among crypto assets chosen by the CFTC's director. Years have passed since Bitcoin emerged from the hands of the enigmatic Satoshi Nakamoto, but Max Keiser reminded his Twitter followers that he has been of same position since 2011. Let's watch the video and hear Keiser's take on the FTX crash in Bitcoin now.
Which is kind of the hedge fund, Alameda Research, that they created back in 2017. So Sam Bankman-Fried came out of a company called Jane Capital, and he comes from the very shadowy world, the very shady world of high-frequency trading and kind of the shadow banking system and the market making that's done kind of in the gray regulatory zone. And there's a lot of these firms that exist on the periphery. There's a lot of debate whether they're actually engaged in lawful activities or not. But that's where he came from. So he came out of Jane Capital. He started Alameda Research, which is another one of these market making, high frequency trading, arbitrage, chop shops that are very fringe in terms of whether they're legal or not legal. They exist kind of on the periphery. And he was engaged in a lot of skullduggery over there at Then they decided to start their own exchange, FTX, and they lobbied very hard in the Bahamas, where they felt that they would get very little regulatory oversight. They went ahead and they bought 10% of IEX, which is another one of these shady peripheral exchanges, to give themselves regulatory legitimacy. They then floated a token called FTT, which is part of the whole scam token world that we've been talking about for a number of years, whether it's Ethereum or Cardano or FTT or XRP. These are just scam tokens. And he used that and listed it on other scammy exchanges to create a price, and using that as collateral to buy assets like real estate in the Bahamas. And now, as all Ponzi schemes eventually do, they run out of kind of runway and they crash and burn. So it is similar to Bernie Madoff in that respect. It's also similar to the 2008 financial crisis, where Wall Street spun out of thin air all these derivative contracts, and they created this multi-trillion-dollar Ponzi scheme that blew up finally in 2008, and with the help of the Fed and central banks to bail out all the crooked bankers once again. So there's a lot of similarities to that. There's similarities to the S&L crisis of the late 1970s, early 1980s. I should note that the S&L crisis, which is a similar crisis of using federal money to backstop a fraud, Black, who was a regulator at the time, he put 1,000 bankers in jail. And we haven't seen anybody with that kind of rigorous regulatory oversight in 40 years. There hasn't been any rigorous financial oversight in the United States and around the world. And if you're not going to enforce laws, you're inviting these problems. So the regulators have really some answers that they need to fill in. And so it's kind of a continuation, Daniela, of multi-decade scammy fraud banking nightmare.
Thanks for watching Diversified Streams, your go-to YouTube channel for all things crypto and finance. Be sure to check out our community post. We would like to hear your opinions on these matters. Also, don't miss out on the latest news and tips related to crypto and finance by keeping notifications on after you subscribe. We post frequently. Similar to the 2008 financial disaster when Wall Street created phony derivative contracts, says Kaiser, and they constructed a Ponzi scheme worth several $1 trillion, which collapsed in 2008 despite efforts by the Federal Reserve and other central banks to save the day for crooked bankers. Kaiser has revealed one of the arguments made by Bitcoin maximalists for the eventual limitless increase of Bitcoin, namely the number 21 million, which is why Bitcoin's mystery creator, Satoshi Nakamoto, set up a strict supply cap. With more than 18 million bitcoins already mined and a so-called halving occurring every 4 years, it will take a very long time to produce the remaining 3 million bitcoins. Given that the previous Bitcoin halving occurred in early May 2020, the next one is not predicted until 2024. In contrast to Bitcoin, which has a limited supply of 21 million coins, other digital currencies have supplies in the billions and even quadrillions. As 2019 began, Kaiser explained why Bitcoin's value is likely to rise to $220,000. According to Kaiser, the hash rate for Bitcoin will explode in January, setting the stage for a dramatic increase in the price of Bitcoin. This is a new record for the Bitcoin hash rate, which reached 203.5 exahashes. More than half of Bitcoin's value has been wiped out, with the cryptocurrency currently trading at just 17,182 across centralized exchanges. Previously, Bitcoin was trading at around 47,000. He also added that no damage had been done to Bitcoin. Max Keiser even described Bitcoin as a wildly beast. He thinks that the drop in value is to weed out the scammers, the machine, the Kevin O'Learys, and Mike Novogratz. People are worried. Investors are worried. They are the ones looking at the crypto space as a whole and wondering what's going to happen to Bitcoin now. A huge question mark is still left hanging on the fate of Bitcoin. Why should they believe that Bitcoin is still going to be around? Is it true that this technology is going to beat everything else? Why can't something come out a lot better than Bitcoin? Experts have been asked about this, but it still has a blurred answer to it. What does Max Keiser think about this? We now know that there is a massive stance behind Bitcoin by investors, and the FTX scandal has not only opened the door for regulators to come in, it has also increased the criticism on Bitcoin and, as Max Keiser pointed out, is a good catalyst for the network. Do you also think that FTX collapse was premeditated? Let us know in the comment section below. If you want to know more about crypto and finance, make sure you click the subscribe button that's on screen now, or click on the one that's below, and be sure to click the bell notification to be notified when we post more videos. YouTube thinks you would like the other videos on the screen. The one on the left is a YouTube suggestion, and the one on the right is one of our most popular videos.